Welcome to the Sam and Joe VA Show, where we teach women just like you how to start and scale a thriving virtual assistant business.
We're your hosts, Sam and Joe, and get ready to have the control, flexibility, and freedom you've always dreamed of.
Welcome to episode 63. Social proof is critical.
Hugely so. Look, let's talk a little bit about what social proof is, because I think for some virtual assistants coming into the industry, it's probably the first time they've even heard of this term. So when we talk about social proof, it's essentially when you are swaying a potential new lead or new client to contact or hire you due to a third-party influence. And so when I talk about third-party influence, we're talking about they've seen a testimonial from someone or a review about you, or they've read a case study from one of your clients about how great you are, or even stats. They've arrived at your website and you've got some stats about I've helped X amount of clients achieve X amount of results. So that's what we talk about when we're talking about social proof.
Yeah, and for me, it's like there's a lot of scams, people who aren't very good at what they do, people who say they can do something but they can't. And so there's a lot of fear around the industry and people have bad experiences with virtual assistants. So there's a lot of like worry and fear with those who are keen to hire a virtual assistant. And so this is a way of saying, hey, this person actually uses me or my business and they are a happy client. And so it's about having that potential client feel comfortable that they also will have a good experience.
Yeah, it's really, really important. It's the start. It's the start of building that know, like, and trust factor as well. It's the trust and the know, like, and trust.
It sure is. And trust is a huge thing for this industry because we get a lot of passwords, a lot of access. We really get into a behind the scenes of a business with someone. And so trust is hugely important, and we should never underestimate that in this industry.
No way. And there's definitely certain things that you can do to ensure that social proof that you're putting out there is as credible as it can be. So people have no doubt when they look at that it's legitimate review, testimonial, case study, whatever it is. And the way to do that is when you are getting these reviews and testimonials from your clients is to make sure that you're sharing their full name, the title, whatever it is, their responsibility at the business, the name of the business, a photo ideally of the person that's providing that review or testimonial. If they're not so keen with sharing their photo, at the very least, a logo with a link to their business, I would suggest.
Yeah, and most clients who are happy to give a testimonial are more than happy to do a photo. If they have one, but not every client has a really great headshot either. So it's a really great tip to use that logo. And one of the great things about you having a testimonial like on your website, say, is that you can actually give that client a backlink to their website, which is really valuable in terms of the client's SEO too. So you can actually give something back to them, as a thanks for providing the testimonial. So I think that's cool too.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the best ways to reach out to a client and ask for that testimonial, because it's really important. Well, it's really important that you do it every single time. If you've done a good job and you've got a really good feeling about that client, you want to, if it's a project, as soon as the project's done, you want to be reaching out to them. If it's an ongoing client that you're assisting on a regular basis, you want to kind of ease them into it. You don't want to do the first job and then ask them for a review. Wait a month or two. And so you've built that strong relationship, and then you want to be reaching out to them. But Joe, you've got some really good tips around how to reach out.
And I think too, I first want to say that this is just part of being in business. There's nothing weird or awkward or unprofessional about asking a client for a testimonial. So I've seen a few comments in a couple of the groups that we have about, them feeling icky about it or feeling like it's unprofessional, which just doesn't compute in my brain at all, because this is just part of business. Your client that you're asking is probably going to be expecting you to ask for a testimonial at some point. Everyone is wanting testimonials and this social proof. It's just part of like marketing and being in business. So on that note, like Sam says, once you feel like you've done a really great job on something, like if you have an ongoing client and you're, let's say a couple of months into it, you've had some really great wins, making really good progress, that is the perfect time to then go and ask that client for the testimonial and make it part of your process. So we have a task list for every new client that comes on board. And one of the tasks at the bottom is ask the client for a testimonial. Just make it part of the process. And when you finish the project, like Sam says, it's part of the process. It's just what you do. So you want to try and make it as easy as possible for the client to give you the testimonial. If you just say, hey, I'd love a testimonial, can you send me one? They are highly likely to not send you anything at all, because they don't know what kind of length, they don't know what kind of angle you're wanting or where to even start. And there's a lot of barriers because most people don't like actually writing. So the way to make it really easy for them is to actually email them and provide them with some questions and just say, hey, I would love to get some feedback from you. See how I'm not calling it a testimonial? It sort of it makes it more relaxed. Hey, I'd just love to get some feedback from you. We've been really enjoying working with you. And so you're then asking some questions. How did you feel before we started? How do you feel now? Like, why did you hire a virtual assistant? Like, what issues and problems were you having? What kind of results are you seeing? Like, would you recommend us to anyone else? So those types of questions are much easier for someone to then answer the questions because they've got a bit of direction. And then you can craft from what they say a testimonial, send it to them and say, hey, based on your answers, I put this testimonial together. Are you happy with this? Would you like to make any changes? Boom, you've then got your testimonial. Now, not everyone comes back and answers the questions, do they?
They don't. It's just like when you're following up when a lead has contacted you and you've had a good chat with them and then you don't hear anything for a few days or even a few weeks. It's up to you to follow up. It's exactly the same with social proof and testimonials. Expect to be following up your clients. That's okay. Chances are they've just gotten busy and they've forgotten. Sometimes they might even come back and just go, oh my gosh, too hard basket at the moment, really want to do this. Could you just write it for me? Now, if they've given you permission to write it for you, write it. Absolutely. Write it. Send it to them. Say, hey, I've put this together. Is there any changes you want to make? And then use it. But expect to follow up for sure.
Definitely. And it's not that they don't want to do it. It's just that they got busy and they've forgotten. It's the same as when you follow up the leads. It's likely that they've just forgotten or they haven't put the time into thinking about it. So they need a reminder.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had one client that has A, come back immediately with something, or B, I don't think I've ever had anyone that's had an outright no, I don't want to supply you with anything. Like they've all been more than happy. One thing that I don't think we have touched on is when you are reaching out to them to request this information, it's really important that you do let them know where you're going to be using this. So, hey, I'm going to be using it online. So that includes my website and my social media channels, just so they're aware of that. They'll be fine about it, but you do need permission.
Yeah, absolutely. And for anyone who is wanting the exact questions, the full step-by-step process, we have a video and the written content over in the Members Club with the exact process that you can literally copy and paste and use because it is so essential to get this social proof. Like we said it at the beginning, trust is so critical in this industry, and the best way that you can start to build that trust is with other people saying that they trust you. That is what we're talking about here. Social proof is absolutely critical.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Sam and Joe VA Show. If you'd like to find out more, Head to the VA Foundry website to check out the Members Club and the amazing resources, training and coaching.
You can find us at thevafoundry.com.